Whenever the season drought comes, Africa's lungs will stage a self-rescue drama. Before the riverbed dries up, they will drill down into a cave about 20 centimeters deep and build themselves a summer hut to reduce the loss of water from their bodies. At this time, the sun was scorching outside the cave and the temperature had soared to 40 degrees Celsius. Welcome to Cryptic Creature. Press the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. It is a little cooler under the riverbed, but that little moisture will not last long, and soon the mud and water here will harden. Some of the friends who usually play and laugh with Fei Yu are busy looking for cool places to escape the heat, while others can only stare blankly and wait for the skin to dry up. The dry season in Africa lasts for more than half a year, and many lives become nutrients for the land, but lung congestion will not sit still and wait for death. They have their own ancestral trick, which is to spit out circles of moisturizing and breathable mucus bubbles around the body. When these bubbles solidify, they will form a layer of natural moisturizer, and then the lungs will enter super power saving mode. The metabolic rate of the stars will drop to 1/50th of the usual rate. They can sleep in the underground huts for 3 to 5 years, waiting for the rain to come again to wake them up from their dreams. And in the mangroves far away, there lives a peculiar amphibious aquatic creature that is greedy for fish. They can live comfortably both on land and in water, but spend most of their time in mud, thanks to their evolved unique breathing mechanism. They can breathe air not only through their mouths, but also through their skin, but the prerequisite is to stay moist, so they often take mud baths to keep their bodies smooth and their function smooth. Once breathing is at risk, the fish can expand its gill cavity to inject air bubbles into the body for breathing when it leaves the water. The fish-greedy monkey is also called mud monkey. The mud is self-explanatory, while the monkey is known for its swiftness in robbing lives when danger strikes. Even a fly with a keen eye can hardly escape the swift pursuit of a greedy fish. On the shore, several other greedy fish were waiting for their prey to fall into their trap, but in fact, they had already locked onto their target. The pair of big eyes on top of his head are like radar, keeping track of all the surrounding movements. Although their eyes are large, they have no tear lines, so they can only keep their eyes moist through other means. The rolling tide from the Indian Ocean hits the reefs violently and pours into the inland areas. The extremely salty seawater rushes into the estuary, the salt river flows, and finally flows into the dense sweet potato forest. The low oxygen tide floods its carefully built home. It takes a week for the eggs of a codfish to hatch, so its children face the risk of suffocation underwater. Fish eggs that are exposed to air can get more oxygen, so the male codfish will swim to the cave entrance and swallow fresh air, and then spit the air into the hatching room in the submerged tunnel. This will replenish the oxygen needed for the hatching of the eggs. The codfish will repeat the oxygen supply hundreds of times until the offspring hatch. A long-lasting drought finally ended with a loud thunder. The rain poured down and the sleeping shellfish were awakened. They challenged the limits of nature with their unique philosophy of survival. The mullets came out of the island 200 million years earlier than the dinosaurs. They have gills that allow them to leisurely absorb oxygen in the river, and fins that allow them to breathe freely in the deep swamps. This dual respiratory system is their pride, but it has also become their biggest pitfall. They have to get out of the water to breathe every half an hour. Shellfish were not easy to deal with, and they would dive into the abyss at the slightest sign of trouble, causing Jintagowan's hunting plans to be frustrated time and time again, but he also knew that patience was the key to success, and sometimes he needed to stay still for several hours before he could succeed. However, as an opportunistic martyr, Jintagowan's prey is not isolated. A baby bird accidentally fell from the tide and soon attracted the interest of Jintagowan.